This is Steve Beverly asking for your help. WLJT Channel 11, West Tennessee's home for educational and quality TV since 1968, needs your financial support. We don't sell commercials. Instead, we rely on donations from viewers. Channel 11 is the most local station in all of West Tennessee, bringing you local shows about events, happenings, and issues important to West Tennessee. It's really easy to donate. Go to westtnpbs.org. It's quick, easy, and secure. Donate today and show your support for local, educational, and quality television. Channel 11 needs your support today.
They're more than a shelter. They're a safe haven for stray pets and a lifeline for lost ones. Hello, I'm Julie Cook. On this edition of Tennessee is Talking, we're sitting down with the Jackson Animal Care Center to talk about their life-saving mission, adoption programs, and how you can help animals in need right here in West Tennessee. Let the conversation begin.
We are rolling. Confirm record. Can we get a mic check? Check, check. Stand by camera 2. Take 2. Stand by announcer in 3, 2.
West Tennessee PBS presents Tennessee is Talking. Let the conversation begin.
Thanks for joining us on Tennessee is Talking. Hello, I'm Julie Cook, and today we're shining a spotlight on the place where compassion and community meet to make a difference. The Jackson Animal Care Center works tirelessly to provide shelter and a fresh start for pets in our area. Joining us today is Whitney Owen, the Director of Animal Services, and we're always glad to hear from you and hear there have been a lot of exciting things going on with the Animal Care Center in the works, and we just wanted to catch up with you and see where we are on that. We always have a lot to talk about. For one thing, I wanted to ask you, because I know that we're just about done with summer and kids are getting back in school, but I know you always have an influx of pets, of animals during the summer months. What has that been like so far?
So nationwide, it's not just us, but the busiest season for us, for especially with dogs, is the week to 10 days after 4th of July. Because people don't take proper precautions with their pets, and big, loud, scary noises cause dogs to run off.
Fireworks. Yeah.
Exactly. So that window right there, we bring in more dogs that week than we do in some months of the year. Yep. So the big thing that we really always want to push for summer pet safety is proper identification. Something as simple as a $10 ID tag with your name and phone number on it can enable us to get your dog back home in a matter of hours. Instead of the dog having to come to the shelter and then sit there until hopefully you see their picture on social media or one of your friends recognizes your dog. So that's the big thing that can help locally to get your pet back home as quickly as possible and safely.
Now, what is the difference? The Animal Care Center is a branch of the city.
Correct.
There are others that do different functions as far as adopting out pets or trying to get them off the streets or whatever. So what is your main mission then there at the Animal Care Center?
So as a taxpayer-funded department of the city, animal control is our, I guess you could say, our main priority because it is public safety. And so they respond to upwards of 3,000 calls for service a year from the public. And anything from somebody found an injured animal to there's a loose dog that's acting aggressively to actual dog bites to strays running at large, things like that. Anything domestic animal related falls under our purview. And so our primary mission, of course, is public safety. Secondary to that is the promotion of proper animal welfare in our community, public education, and just kind of acting as a resource hub for the residents of our city.
Do you have a lot of people turning in animals who are neglected?
We don't have a lot of people turning those in. We end up picking them up because one of the big things that our animal control officers do is enforce city ordinances, and one of those is anti-cruelty and neglect ordinance. And so when those situations and cases are reported, our officers, of course, go out, examine the situation, see what's going on, and if there is, in fact, a violation occurring, they then build a case, take it in front of our city court judge, and of course, if we win at that point, then we gain custody of those animals, and they come in that way. Most of the people that are surrendering animals in our community are doing so for economic reasons. They are having to move somewhere that doesn't accept pets, or they can't afford the pet deposit, or the animal, of course, as all animals do, need ongoing medical care, annual shots, exams, flea and heartworm prevention, things like that. And they're in a situation where financially it just isn't feasible. And so that is the number one reason that people surrender animals is funding and financial constraints. And so in those situations, we do try to step in and offer some resources that they may not be aware of. Because since we do this all day, every day, we have connections and knowledge that the average pet owner doesn't. And so a lot of times we can offer them some more affordable options and products that we are aware of that they may not be. And so it enables them to sometimes be able to keep their pets.
Where are we on the spay and neuter? Are people typically doing that, or is that, again, another financial burden for a lot of folks?
So it is a financial burden, simply because, like everything else in the world, vet care has gone up. The pricing is continuously increasing. So that's kind of a twofold answer. The first half of that is we are seeing a huge amount of people willing to do that. With the rise of social media and people being able to, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, see other people providing a higher standard of care, that is becoming now the norm. Even though growing up, they may not have seen that, they're now seeing it and they have access to it on social platforms. And so they have a better understanding of what the expectation is as far as pet care. And so the flip side of that is they've also figured out that unwanted litters of puppies and kittens are expensive and inconvenient. They make a mess, they're loud. If you didn't want them, they are a colossal pain in the foot, and they're expensive. And so we can't always guarantee that we can take your litter of puppies and kittens immediately when you call us. We have to do it on a space basis. And so then you're stuck with them for a few more weeks until we can get them in, if you're lucky enough to live in our jurisdiction. If you don't live in our jurisdiction, there's a lot of places that have no resources at all. And so you're on your own trying to figure it out.
So surrounding counties or different
correct,
towns?
Yes. West Tennessee is very rural, and so there are a lot of areas in West Tennessee that provide no animal services at all from a governmental standpoint. They have no municipal animal services at all. And so we're seeing a very large uptick in the people that are willing to
do the spay and neuter program.
And then one of the really cool things that we've been able to implement over the last few years is a spay and neuter assistance program. So the people that are willing to do it, cost can be prohibitive. And one of the things that we've kind of thankfully been able to step in and kind of bridge that gap is our voucher program that we've been using for the last 5 years. And it is available to any resident of Madison County, not just inside the city, because accidental litters in the county are still a problem for the city because they're given away unaltered to people who live in the city. So to kind of stem the tide and put a cork in the flow, so to speak, they're available to any resident in Madison County, and they will pay $60 towards the cost of a cat sterilization. They will pay $75 towards the cost of any breed of dog, and then we will pay the entire cost of sterilization for pit bulls and pit bull mixes up to $175. Pit bulls and pit bull mixes make up almost 90% of our canine intake across all demographics, all locations, all areas of the city, all ages. It's pit bull mixes are the problem. And so if we can encourage people to get those animals fixed, we're hoping to in the future see a notable downturn in the numbers that are coming in. We've been fortunate enough over the last 5 years that via our adoption program and our voucher program, we've provided spay and neuter services to almost 10,000 animals in Madison County.
And in what period of time?
Since June of 2020. Wow. So just a hair over 5 years.
So that's about, 2,000 a year? Mm-hmm. About?
Yep.
Wow.
And because of that, we have seen a very marked difference in the number of unwanted cats coming in, because used to, everybody that works in animal welfare knows that spring and summer are cat season, cat and kitten season, and they're swinging from the rafters, coming out of our ears. They're everywhere. And when I was first made the director in 2020, we were having 125 cats a month, and that was with us putting folks on a waiting list and having to triage intake and things like that. We were still bringing in 125 a month, and it was, hey, I found a stray cat. and her 9 kittens. Hey, this cat that I've been feeding outside for 6 months has had, litter of kittens. I can't keep them, and it was always moms and litters, moms and litters. And so instead of being singular cats, it was groups of cats coming in. And we thankfully have so many people in our community that are mindful of the animal issues that we face and have been more than helpful with trying to help us make a difference. Instead of just complaining it and dumping the problem in our lap, they're like, hey, we recognize that this is an issue. What can we do to help? How can we get involved? And so they've helped us a lot with trapping and getting some of these mama cats fixed. There's several private organizations that do that as well. And so because of that, we don't have near as many unaltered females just running amok everywhere. And so these unwanted litters are not happening as often. And there's still a bunch of cats, but it's nothing like it was 5 years ago.
So, well, that's good. That's encouraging, though, that that people are taking that upon themselves to do the spay and neuter program. Because
it makes us hope that maybe the light at the end of the tunnel is not, in fact, a train, and that we are going to at some point come out on the other side of this.
What now? There's an adoption process. Did people
Correct.
have to qualify for that, or do you have to go through? I mean, how do you qualify for that? I guess because you can't just let anybody have an animal, can you? Or there's certain stipulations?
You can. There are some organizations that do. We are not one of those. Now, we don't want to throw up a bunch of barriers to adoption because everybody's situation is individual and every animal has specific needs. So we don't have a blanket rule that says you have to have a fenced yard to adopt a dog. Because I have some dogs that a fenced yard doesn't matter. They are so low drive and homebody-ish, and they only want to go outside to sniff 3 things and go potty, and then they want to come back inside. But then we have other dogs that if you don't have a fenced yard, you're going to have a dog for about 27 minutes. And as soon as that dog gets a chance to go outside, the next time we hear from him will be 3 counties over after he's made 19 new friends and, forded 3 rivers.
Made the Facebook page
exactly.
and all that stuff.
So it just kind of depends on which animal you're interested in. Now we always do make adoption decisions that we feel are in the best interest of the animal. So if we have people that come in that are looking for an outdoor cat, we're not going to adopt them a declawed cat because that cat cannot live outdoors safely. It can't protect itself. If I have somebody that comes in with toddlers and they've never owned an animal before, we're not going to send a 90-pound, unruly, untrained, dog home with them that we have no prior history on because it's just not safe.
Which there are some dogs that are aggressive that you're just not able to adopt out.
Correct.
Right.
Yes. Public safety has to be our number one priority, just from a moral standpoint. But also, we're a city government organization. We can't knowingly send a potentially dangerous dog back out into the community to put people's children and their pets at risk. It's just not something that I'm willing to go to sleep every night knowing that we do. And fortunately, our administration agrees. So, aggressive dogs are not made available for adoption to the public.
What about, there are dogs with special needs? As I'm sure it's harder to adopt. What do you do?
You would be shocked.
Really?
You would be shocked because the pity vote comes into play on that. We have animals come in all the time that have been hit by cars and, front or rear legs are shattered. And, theoretically you could take them to orthopedic specialist in Memphis or Nashville, but realistically we don't have the budget for that. I don't have a $9,000 or $10,000 surgery budget for that specific animal. So we're left with the choice of whether to amputate or not, and we leave that discretion with our vets. Like, do we think that this animal can have a high quality of life with only 3 legs? And they're like, yes, absolutely. Then we will proceed. Our most recent one was just adopted a couple of months ago. She came in as a puppy and had pretty severely damaged right rear leg. She'd been hit by a car and multiple bones were broken, and it'd been a while in that condition. They were healing wrong, and so we amputated the leg. It's like she'd been born that way. She didn't know any other way. Didn't slow her down at all. She was just this little jet-powered pogo stick, just everywhere, all over the place. And people don't care, as long as the personality and the temperament are good, they don't mind that the dog has 3 legs. It makes a really cool story and it looks good on Facebook for them. So, it doesn't slow them down. And then same thing with, we have an animal right now. His name is Ulysses. And, he recently left. He's this little bitty terrier, little tiny dog. He's older than dirt. He's blind as a bat. He's, deaf in one ear and can't hear out of the other one, he's old and in rough shape. And there's a couple of different sanctuaries that we work with for dogs in that condition. And it took us all of 3 minutes to find a foster for him because he's low maintenance. He doesn't make any noise. He just hangs out and needs somebody to love on him, And people want to get involved. They want to help. They want to see those feel-good stories, win. And so we have the good fortune of being surrounded by a very caring community that wants to be involved.
I've heard of people fostering dogs. Now, how does that work?
So it kind of depends. We don't send healthy, ready-to-be-adopted dogs to foster homes because it's hard to set up meet and greets with people's work schedules and things like that. So the ones that are ready to be adopted are in-house at the shelter. We utilize foster homes for animals that maybe need a little bit of time either to get more healthy or to recover from a surgical procedure, things like that. We have kittens that come in that have an upper respiratory infection and need 2 weeks of antibiotics, and we don't want them to expose the healthy population in the shelter. So we'll send them to a foster home, and the people have been informed, this is contagious. They need to be kept quarantined from any other cats that you've got. We provide all medical care, all medical supplies and procedures, all supplies that they need while they foster the animal. So crates, blankets, food, toys, anything that you might need. It doesn't cost the foster anything but time and effort.
So you've got a pretty good number of those?
We do. We're actually in the process of building our foster program. I think everybody was kind of, post-COVID, was in that holding stasis of what's going to happen with this, what are we doing? And so we're finally kind of hitting our stride.
5 years, we're still getting over
Yep.
COVID things. It comes up every day just about.
Oh, I know. And so we're finally hitting our stride post-COVID with this particular program. It's finally organized the way that we want it to be and set up the way we want it to be. We recently got a new software program this year that enables us to keep track of our fosters better. So instead of having to flip through a 3-inch thick 3-ring binder of paper information, it's now all digitized on our software program that our fosters then have access to. So when they take an animal home, they're added to our system as a foster, and so they can update the software program. They can upload pictures of their fosters and stuff directly to the system, and it's cloud-based. And so the cat or dog may be in a foster home 40 miles from the shelter, but they upload a photo and we can see it instantly. We can use that for adoption placements. We can use that for, like, if they are recovering from surgery and they have an issue with their incision from surgery, they can take a picture of it, upload it to that software program. We can then take that photo, show it to the vet. So it just streamlines the process a lot. And it's made it a lot more user-friendly for us and for the fosters themselves.
I've heard you say, too, before you give a gift of a puppy at Christmas time and maybe a couple of months, maybe about March, there's sometimes a mismatch, or there's certain times. I guess giving a child a puppy for a gift when they may or may not really be ready to take care of a puppy is a big deal. I've heard you say before.
It is a huge deal, especially if you do it without their parents' knowledge. We have thankfully recently seen a very large, hard nosedive in that happening, because the parents will come in and will adopt a dog for the kids for Christmas. But instead of doing opening the puppy under the tree in the box with the bow
from Uncle Joe,
or exactly,
Aunt Lou or something,
precisely.
Yeah.
But we see a lot of parents that will give their dog or their kids like a stuffed dog on Christmas Day with, hey, we're going to go to the shelter this week and adopt a dog, and so it includes the family in the decision-making process so that the kids can meet the dog or cat, either one, in advance, make sure they're a good fit. And then the flip side of that is, hopefully, most people are smart enough now not to buy somebody else's kid a puppy without checking with them first.
Surely.
But even so, you see a lot of people. Unfortunately, our recidivism rate at our shelter is less than 5%. So we do not see a lot of returns because our employees sit down with the adopters prior to the adoption, and we have kind of a counseling session. Like, what are you looking for? Like, I want a German Shepherd.
Because every household is different.
Right. And people are like, oh, I want a German Shepherd. They're beautiful dogs. Well, they are.
Yeah.
But do you have an hour and a half a day for the first year of that dog's life to devote to training, to devote to interaction and relationship building? Because these are very smart, very high drive, very needy dogs. And if you don't have that, don't get one. If you think it's pretty, cool. Let's find you a German Shepherd mix that's mixed with something else that has kind of the same look but different personality.
So you can do that, and probably
absolutely,
a lot of people aren't aware of
It's
that.
like any other. and I hate to use the term product because they're living, breathing creatures that have feelings and emotions and across a wide spectrum of things, but it's a product that you're marketing. And so to successfully find homes for as many of them as possible, you have to successfully market them. We have a ton of pit bulls. Not everybody wants a pit. Oh yeah, the number one.
Well, I thought they were really popular though.
You would think
among
at the
pet
rate
owners.
people breed them, but the rate at which people don't want them is also very high. And so I can't figure out why folks keep breeding them when they're the number one dog in shelters nationwide in America. They're the number one most abused dog, they're the number one most euthanized dog, and they're the number one most surrendered dog in America. And large portion of the reason for that is they are very athletic, very high drive, very high energy. They're a working dog
So you'd have
breed.
to have a good spread for them.
Yep. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. It's like, you wouldn't live in a 700 square foot apartment and get a blue heeler because that's a working breed dog. You wouldn't live in a 700 square foot apartment and get a husky or a Malinois. Most people wouldn't anyway. Because you recognize that those are working breed dogs. They have a different set of needs than, a big, fat, lazy English bulldog who wants to walk 9 steps to the snack tray and then walk back to the couch and go to
So
sleep.
you need to research.
Exactly.
Really, the different types of dogs.
Yeah. And so we see a lot of people, not from us, but just from other places, they'll acquire a dog for Christmas or this or that. And then March or April, and that puppy has gone from 3 months old to 6 months old. And it is now turned into an alligator that's chewing up every extension cord it can find in the corner of the couch and the this and that, because they didn't do their research and they don't understand why crate training is so important. They don't understand how to properly train the dog to divert the dog's attention away from this to something else that is a constructive activity. They didn't do the research, and then they don't want to be inconvenienced now that it's a problem, and so they just want to get rid of the dog. And so
That's too bad.
we always encourage people that if you're going to get an animal as a gift, in theory, it's fine as long as you do it correctly. So make sure that all adults in the home know about it and are on the same page and are in agreement, and that you've done your research on the kind of dog, breed of dog, or specific dog that you're getting, so that you can meet that dog's or cat, meet their needs, so that you don't have the behavioral problems a few months down the road that then inconvenience the whole family.
I know you all are always willing to answer questions when people
Of
call.
course, yeah.
But we're getting short of time. It goes by so quickly. I know you seek donations often for food and blankets and things like that. What opportunities do you have as far as donations or volunteers mainly? We talked about the foster program.
Correct.
What other volunteer, do you have a volunteer coordinator to take your donations, or
Well, they're two different things. Donations can be dropped off anytime we're open. And then we also have, you can also leave them outside. We'll sort through them once we come back to work the next day if you can't get by when we're open. The things that we can always use are crates and carriers, like the black wire crates, and then the plastic, like cat carriers or small dog carriers. Never have too many of those. We give away a lot of those for people that are in maybe transient situations where they need to move, or they're going to be living in their car for a while and they don't want to get rid of their pet, but they want their pet to be safe. And so just different situations. So we go through those pretty quickly. And then all of our dogs, by the time they get adopted from us, almost all the time are already crate trained and have very good vocal recall. They've been worked with on how to walk on a leash. And so the way that we were able to do that is high value treat rewards. And so we get pepperoni, bacon strips, the little Bill Jack liver treats, anything chewy and meaty, always in high demand because we use those all day, every day when working with our dogs and working with behavioral issues and things like that. And then our volunteer program as well, there's a multitude of ways to get involved. If you're housebound and can't leave your home but you want to help, guess what? I need administrative help with our software program. You're more than welcome to help with that. If you're looking to, I know I am looking to trim down a little bit and lose a little bit of weight, and you don't want to walk on a treadmill and stare at the wall,
Come walk
dogs. And we've got several folks that come by on their lunch break every day.
Really?
And and they take the dogs for it's 1 mile. If you've not at our building, you don't really know what I'm talking about. But when you leave our parking lot, you go to the stop sign and back twice is a mile. And so we've got people that'll come by on their lunch break and grab a dog, and they'll do a mile and then go back to work. And so it helps keep them active and interested. But yeah, there's a bunch of different opportunities. Just give us a shout.
So when can we expect the shelter to open? Because it won't be long.
We are hoping that it is right around the corner. We are down to the nitty-gritty final details. the building is up and complete. Our habitats are installed. Our road and our parking lot are completed. We are in the final phases of getting our outdoor play yards for our dogs put together. And then once that happens, we will be ready to start moving in. So we are.
So you'll be able to take how many dogs at once?
So it depends on their size. Yeah. Because obviously we can take, 6 itty bitty puppies to one 90-pound Mastiff. But our kennel capacity is increasing by 70% with our new building.
I wish we had more time because there's always so much to talk about. But it's the Jackson Animal Care Center,
yes,
and it's a part of the city of Jackson. Whitney Owen is the director there, and there's always so many needs there. So if you can help out, certainly do. And as she said, if you can get on a computer and help with some of the software, that is great too. But thanks so much for being with us today, Whitney Owen. If you want to rewatch the program again about the Jackson Animal Care Center or share it with a friend, you can stream this episode and all the local Channel 11 programs anytime on the PBS app or westtnpbs.org. Keep the conversation going by following West Tennessee PBS on social media. Until next time, keep on talking Tennessee.
Do you have a topic you'd like to see discussed on a future episode of Tennessee is Talking? Maybe you want to be a guest and have something to talk about. Send your ideas to tnistalking@westtnpbs.org. Include all your contact information and let the conversation continue.
Hello everyone, I'm Ginger Rousey with the Jackson-Madison County Regional Health Department and host of the Channel 11 Checkup. It's a show that brings you the latest health information and local happenings. Channel 11 doesn't run commercials. As a community nonprofit TV station, they rely on donations from the public. It's super easy to donate. Go to their website, westtnpbs.org, and click on the Donate tab. Your donation stays local and helps WLJT be a community TV station for all of West Tennessee. Channel 11 is all about home.